Okay, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the exhibition game here at 4Nations. This is going to see Frotland playing Walgland. Walgland. There's been many conversations about how that nation team is going to be pronounced.
That's right. Frotland is, of course, an amalgamation of players from France and Scotland. Walgland, as you might have guessed already, is amalgamation of players from Wales and England. Of course, this will be the female division. So we might see a little bit more experience here, as a matter of fact. Most of these skaters have been playing longer than many of these the men's leagues that these teams are from have been in existence. So this should be an interesting one. I don't think these skaters play together very often.
They don't know. They are taken from their national teams, but then, as you say, combined together. So the first time they'll have played together will have been that warm-up time just before this game. We are currently hearing the call-outs of the names for Frotland, so let's just run through those for you at home. We've got 101 Jill Antomic, number 12 Nina Backdraft, number 20 playing as red, but it's Phoenix, number 22 Rosayen, number 37 Bosies, Guns and Bosies, number 407 Joe Mama, number 69 Milky, number 7 Nasty Nurse, number 72 Sally Breuer, number 9 Riot, and number 93 Hooligan.
Skating in the green for Team Walgland, Wales and England, number 00 Betty Swallocks, number 07 Ella Story, number 10 Voodoo, number 106 Optimus, number 11 Gin, that's Gin and Tonic, or Gin, sorry? Yeah, okay, she's just going by Gin in this one. Number 40 Kid Block, number 50 Snail, number 6 will be Raw Heidi, although she will be skating as a replacement for Missy Rascal, but that is Raw Heidi, so you're not crazy if you see that. Number 7 Mort, number 8 Jolly Pop, number 800 Cheesus, number 8008, she's skating as Cool, but you might also recognize her as Gaz, also of London Roller Girls, same as Raw Heidi, and Kid Block for that matter. Number 86 Sudders, that's Terry Sudran, and number 888 Shaolin Scarlet, also of London Roller Girls. I am Bulldog, and with me is the lovely Holly Sheet.
Thank you very much. Yes, we're just currently seeing a very wonderfully choreographed skate out by Team Walgland, who are really getting into the spirit of the...
and we've been talking over one of the most elegant open introductions in roller derby. Total eclipse of the heart. Really just melts your heart, doesn't it? Every time. Unless you've seen that that words replacement video. Have you seen that one? Yeah. Then you can't help but chuckle. I've heard that actually ruined the music for some people.
I believe it well did.
But now it's down to business. We've got Joe Mama, number 407, in the black. She'll be jamming first for Team Frotland. And number 07, Ella Story, will be jamming first for Team Walgland. Walgland in the green, Frotland in the black.
Steady start here as the jammers try and sort out their attack on their opposition, but Ella Story going for that inside line. It looks like Frotland are playing 5 defense at the moment. Your Mama now pushing on that inside line. She's knocked off the inside.
Joe Mama caught up with Raw Heidi and Cool, a.k.a. Gaz. Kid Block taking Joe Mama to the ground with a hip check. And Ella Story sneaks up the inside lane. She's got the first lead jammer of the first jam.
That took 40 seconds, so a very steady start to this exhibition ladies game here.
Team Frotland caught by surprise with Ella Story's first scoring pass. She had an easy run up the outside lane. 5 points. Second time through Hooligan, the only one in motion. Ella Story too quick up the inside this time. Another 5. That's 10 points real quick on the board for Walgland.
Yeah, Frotland just starting to get their defence back together at the back. Jo Mama still struggling to push her way through. She's not made a pass yet. We've got Milky up at the front trying to give her some offensive play, but Jo Mama's not able to benefit from any assistance that's been offered to her. And indeed, I think we've just had a cutting penalty called on Jo Mama, which puts this to a power jam for Ella Story and Team Walgland.
Yeah, Ella Story finally ran into a little bit of traffic on her third scoring pass. Hooligan and Rose Hien. Oh, it looked like that Rosien or Hooligan? Sorry, one of the Paris, in fact, skaters forcing the cut track on Ella Story. So both jammers in the box. Jo Mama released early, and Ella Story will be serving a short penalty. But time runs out just before Ella Story is released from the penalty box. However, she did put 3 more on the board on her third scoring pass. No points for Walgland. No points for Frotland. 13 points for Walgland. And we're going to have a jammer starting in the penalty box, Ella Story. She'll have only about 5 seconds after the whistle. But number 12, Nina Backdraft, jamming for Frotland.
Frotland taking a steady back line there with just a little bit of assistance up at the front. And we get lead jammer awarded. Ella Story, however, already back on the track. She's testing out the outside, powers her way around. But that's a 4-point pass of Frotland now putting digits on that board. Nina Backdraft calling that jam to an end before Ella Story can pick up any points for Walgland.
So that's a 4-0 jam for Frotland. Frotland on the board now. But Walgland still in the lead at 13. Mort, number 7, will be jamming for Walgland. Up against number 22. It's Rose Hien. She's from the Paris Roller Girls and Team France from the World Cup. Women's World Cup, of course.
It's a very packed-in pack there. There was barely any room. Rose Hien is just testing. She's going inside and outside. Knocked off to that outside line, but gets herself back on track. But we've got lots of power up at the front by Mort, who's pushing her way through.
Mort trying to get around the outside. Phoenix Fatale is there. And then Milky. A couple of Scottish players double teaming Mort, forcing her back to turn 2. Up front, Rose Hien getting around Betty Swalix. Last line of defense for Walgland. She is lead jammer for Frotland. Oh, but Milky rockets right past, Mort rockets right past Milky. Mort, the jammer for Walgland, okay. That the jam ref, he was holding his arms a little bit in the cut track penalty position, but he was actually signaling not lead jammer. We might ask him for a little bit more clear signals at halftime, but
just keep our ears peeled for those whistles.
Well, as long as no one is actually confused enough to actually go to the penalty box.
Just us.
It's okay if we're the only ones that are confused.
Going back onto the track, and we are going to see a lead jammer for Team Scotland, and that is Riot for Frotland. Spinning away through that inside line, and that'll be a grand slam. But we have Raw Heidi breaking free. She's now in a scoring position. The pack settles itself back on turn 2. Oh!
No. No, she may have landed it. Technically, she landed with one foot inbounds, then the other foot went out. However, the referee did not see it that way.
Yeah, I think that's being called as a straddled land.
Right,
so
right.
No.
I believe it's both skates have to touch the ground, or all of this, or at least, or no part of you can be touching the ground before you fall. If you land with one skate and then fall inbounds, then there are some technical rules. But however, that straddled landing, no points. But she did get one scoring pass that brought them to within 2 points of Walgland. But Walgland's still in the lead at 13.
Yeah. Rawhide picked up 1 point on that jam. But we're looking at the jam right now. We're going to see Nina Backdraft and Ella Story having an absolute battle here. Both constantly being knocked in and out. But beautiful twisting around. Ella Story reversing herself through that inside line. Picks up lead for Walgland. Nina Backdraft having a very tricky time. Shaolin with a big smile on her face after knocking her out and pulling that back block penalty. So this is a power jam for Ella Story. She's taking her time as she comes up to the pack. Oh, and that worked well in her favour. Just a little nudge and a step over, and that's 5 more points for Walgland.
Cool. It's difficult for me not to call her Gaz, but she's going with cool today, so we'll try and stick with that. But she's going to the penalty box. But Ella Story doesn't have any trouble. There's a 4-on-3 pack advantage for Frotland, but Ella Story already close to matching her first jam. Muscled out by Milky of Frotland. And Ella Story's going to... Did she run out of time, or did she call it off? She did call it off. And she actually matches her first score exactly. 13 points for Walgland. That puts them at 27 points. Frotland at 11.
It's really great. Where we're sat is all the way viewing down the straight. And just watching Ella Story running herself around the track is a thing of pure beauty. You can see her getting right up to the edges and then darting all the way across the track. And you can see exactly how she's working out her way to get through the pack each time.
Kid Block, number 40, shoots straight up the center of the pack, gets lead jammer for Walgland. Number 12, Nina Backdraft, gets through for Frotland, so she may not have given up her jammer lap point. Kid Block dodging back and forth, caught with a hip check from, is that Nasty Nurse, number 7, yes. And now Frotland forms up a wall. Sally Boyer catches her on the inside. And Kid Block getting lapped. Well, not quite lapped. That's right. Nina Backdraft did not give up her lap point, and Kid Block did not get her. So I think we're probably going to see matching 4s. Yes, Kid Block does not complete her first scoring pass, but neither jammer laps the other 4-4 in that jam. No change in the relative scores.
That's some very sensible work there, Kid Block, keeping a constant eye on her bench to see when that call-off should come. There was a couple of attempted apex jumps there by Nina Backdraft. Sadly, none of them were landed, but she did manage to get that inside line cleared, and that's how she managed to pick up the 4 points for Team Frotland. We're seeing a hooligan jamming for the first time for Frotland. Oh, right around that outside line. She powers herself through, and that's lead jammer to the team in blue.
Terry Sudrin, number 86, gets out of the pack as well, chasing down Hooligan.
She's just powering her legs through there. That's going to be a quick one to call. But Hooligan manages to do so, picking up 4 points for Frotland and holding Walgland to a 0 score on that jam.
So Frotland winning that jam. Score now 31 for Walgland, 19 for Frotland. We have 20 and a half minutes left in the first half. We've got Ella Story jamming once again for Walgland in the green. And number 69, Milky, taking the star for the first time for Frotland.
Steady start here. Coming straight in from the penalty box. That was Snail just trying to blast her way through, and she's getting right up in the face of Milky.
Oh, Jill and Tonic falling down, but lucky for her, Ella Story also falling down with her. I think it was just both slipping. Oh, a high block against Jill and Tonic, number 101. That drops Frotland to one blocker. But Ella Story brought back past the pivot line. Nina Backdraft gets a glancing blow with the hip, runs into Sally Boyer, but
that's a misconduct penalty being issued to Milky, who's making her way to the penalty box. I did not see what that occurrence was, but she has been sent off for a misconduct.
That's right, so a power jam for Walgland. 3 blockers on the track. Sally Broya and Nina Backdraft trying to hold off against an onslaught from Shaolin Scarlet. A blocker. She was trying to break up the defense. Ella Story, though, not going to get far, but does claim lead jammer. Goes ahead and calls it off without scoring. That was some tough defense from Frotland.
Yep, some really good play. We are 19 Frotland to 31 Walgland. We've just lost just over 10 minutes of this game so far, so plenty of time to go and plenty more action to see. We just give a quick shout out to Shaya Premium Roller Skates. Check out all of their deals online.
Milky, the jammer for Frotland, starting in the penalty box, stood up about 2 seconds after the first whistle, but Kid Block, the jammer for Walgland, wastes no time getting through the pack. She's lead jammer. Now in scoring position. However, the timing is tricky here. Milky, the jammer for Frotland, did come in to the engagement zone right before Kid Block scored any points. We'll wait to see if the jammer ref awards her the jammer lap point. But right now, Kid Block in a furious battle at the back of the pack gets by Phoenix Vital and Rosienne, but caught at the outside by Jill and Tonic. Rosienne and Phoenix Vital reform at the front, and Kid Block in a mess again. But Jill and Tonic bridging, so very close to the end of the engagement zone. Kid Block finally gets the free pass and does get the jammer lap point. 5 points for Walgland.
We've had a star pass over to Riot from Milky, so Riot is now the jammer for Team Frotland, and she's making her way back round to the pack, but Kid Block already in there, causing absolute devastation, taking out 3 blockers with 1 hit, and just calls that jam to an end. I think she's a bit confused about the points that she's received, but there was certainly a single blocker still in front of her, even though that powerful hip check just took taking 3 blockers down all at once.
There are a lot of very strong blockers, including, you cannot discount the fact that Walgland has 4 skaters from London Roller Girls, and that should be enough to impress anyone with the strength of the green team. But Team Frotland has a lot of very experienced players from Team France. We're seeing Hooligan, Sally Broyer, Rosienne, and I believe Nina Backdraft also from France.
Oh yeah, I think there's about seven skaters, maybe 8 from Team France.
Okay.
We've currently got Mort from Team Wales, however, just running laps around the track, as she's already scored a 5-point Grand Slam, and her initial pass was completed in a very short amount of time. It's being held up slightly here now, but down to just 3 blockers on the track as Guns N' Bosies has been sent off. Mort just does a couple more pushes and makes her way through. Very solid defense from Team Walgland at the back. Rawhide indeed just getting up in the action and making sure that there's no space at all. Beautiful pass there by Mort on 1 skate on the outside line.
And just Bosie's actually from Granite City in Aberdeen, Scotland, so I think she's the furthest north. I think so. She's probably the most comfortable in this chilly weather we have right now. I think this is like summer weather for her.
Well, it's a very balmy 9 degrees outside, a little bit colder inside. Mort being held up. Oh, some very good work there. Hooligan just managing to push her off. Good teamwork by Frotland. Well, we can see straight away offense has been decided to be pulled by Sudders.
Nasty Nurse shovels her shoulder into Mort, forcing her out of bounds, and she does draw the cut. She does draw the cut. It will be a power jam for Frotland. However, only 12 seconds left on the jam clock. So Joe Mama still struggling. 15 points already on the board scored by Mort, plus whatever she got in that last scoring pass before going into the box. That is 4 points. 19 points total. Frotland will come up empty in that jam. So, that's may have miscounted. I saw 15 on the board, and then the 4 went on, but the board showing only, there it is, 19 points. Okay, good. Not going crazy. Well, not in any way that anyone can prove just yet.
We've got Nina Backdraft again on the jammer line for Team Frotland, and starting in this power start, she's going to really want to cause some devastation straight away. She went in nice and hard, but a very solid defense by Walgland, just closing down that gap. Snail being pulled back, so they're down to just 3 at the front. Nina Backdraft still trying to push her way through on that far side on turn number 1. Frotland are dropping back. They're not providing any offense. They are setting up for the defense, as Mort has been released from the penalty box. So this is all Nina Backdraft just trying to push her way through. Mort finds space on that outside line, but is called on a cutting penalty. So we're back to another power jam for Team Frotland.
Another technical call on Walgland. Nina Backdraft finally gets past Snail and Voodoo. Kid Block and Jin and Tonic also are holding back Nina Backdraft for a long time. That's who had her up on turn 1. But now Milky going to the penalty box. That drops Frotland down to only 2 blockers. All 4 blockers on the track for Walgland. So Nina Backdraft on her first scoring pass, still getting hammered, knocked around, and you can see it. She may have gotten a little bit beat up, leaning over. Oh, clutching the side of her chest. May have gotten a big shot, but she did get 3 points for all of that work.
Yeah, some very tough jamming there. Team Frotland indeed having a pretty tricky time. Walgland have absolutely solid, just settled down with those defensive blocks. As you said, they've got a lot of high power blockers in there, but even with the mix-up bringing Team Wales in, they seem to be a team. They look like a team who have been training together for a very long time, not a team that have just joined together for today.
Rosien jamming for Team Frotland. Back and forth. Mort coming back in from the penalty box. This is their 3rd jam in a row. She's started in the penalty box the last 2 jams in a row. Now being very careful this time to avoid a cut in track. She went back probably a little further than she technically had to, but smart play, because you get the 2 cuts in a row. You do not want to get a 3rd as jammer. But she does get lead jammer. Rosien, though, chasing her down. Mort's going to go ahead and call it off. Play it safe. I think she's ready to pass the star to someone else.
Yep, she was definitely being very steady in her approach to the pack. Took it nice and steady. Very good play by Walgland, pulling back a goat from Frotland, and that's all that Mort was aiming for. She wanted that 1 point and was going to call it straight away. Took her time getting around. More than happy, I think, to take that star off her head and pass it on.
She did catch 1 point, though.
She did that lovely goated point by Walgland. We've got a team timeout being called by Frotland. So they're going to have a quick regroup, conflab, before they get back on track. But we have got Walgland already ready on the track. They're having a bit of a chatter, and it's going to be Betty Swallocks jamming for Team Walgland. Betty is here over the weekend also as the part of the bench crew for Team England.
That is true, yes. England doing absolutely fantastic job this weekend. Not just the men, but right now we're also seeing the women of England doing a very impressive job. They were the ones that were doing those hammer blows that sent Nina Backdraft back to the bench. Clutching her chest. I don't think it was because she was winded. I think she was just getting. She's probably going to have a few bruises after that 4 wall that was just absolutely clobbering her. I don't know. I need to come up with some new adjectives. It's just.
You can hear the crowd just really getting behind Team Walgland. The English supporters have got their English flags up, waving in the crowd. As Betty is taking on Riot for Frotland. Riot trying to push her way up on that inside line on her toe stops very regularly, and it is a misconduct. Again, penalty being issued. It's misconduct on Betty Swallock, so this will be a power jam, for Riot. So Frotland, who's just pushing away at the front. She's pushed off track but picks up lead jammer. She is lead jammer but being recycled back. Wonderful recycling by Sudders all the way back almost to that pivot line, and now trying to fight her way back through. Sudders now being a goat, so just 2 blockers to come up against. She's trying to dart away around Optimus slowing it down, but not enough space, and that's the initial pass once again completed for Frotland.
Betty Swallock's back on the track, starting her initial pass. Caught by Sally Breuer, knocked out of bounds. Betty Swallock comes back in clean. However, Riot lapping her, getting that fifth jammer point on the first scoring pass.
Lovely hit there by Salivria, taking Betty out on the outfield and taking her all the way back that long straight. But some good work up at the front by Voodoo. It's forcing that call off by Riot. She's taking a few deep breaths as she finishes that jam off. So even though she got an easy pass, the first scoring pass, the second one not so easy, picking up just 3 points before calling that jam to an end.
So 8 points for that jam brings Frotland to 30 points. Walgland at 59. 10 minutes, 22 seconds remaining, but we're still in the first half.
Yeah, Frotland's starting to pick up the speed, starting to work out Walgland's defence and throw in some offence. I think they're really working when they've got offensive play happening for their jammers.
Ellis Story trying to drill up the inside lane, but Frotland is ready for her. Milky gets a glancing blow with his shoulder. This time Ellis Story does rip right past Rosianne, and Bozes gets lead jammer for Walgland.
Lovely little run up there. Frotland, however, having a little bit of a tricky time, and that's Hooligan is being called on a cutting penalty. She picked herself back up and jumped straight on track, and that was 2 blockers, in fact, that she stepped up in front of. Ella Story believing she was being sent off, but however she is not. She's picked up a grand slam already, so this is a power jam for Walgland. Ella Story on a second scoring pass now. Open doors, there was nobody in front of her. Lovely wide open space in the middle. Brilliant offensive play by Walgland just to clear that space.
Yeah, I believe what happened was that Nasty Nurse got a penalty, and but the referee thought she cut, that Ella Story cut, and then saw that Nasty Nurse got a penalty, and therefore that nullified the cutting penalty. But this time she officially has cut the track. And Hooligan, though, released before Ella Story sits down. It'll be a full 30-second power jam for Frotland. And, wow, Hooligan just muscled her way right between Gin and Tonic and Cool, number 8008.
Oof.
And this time, counter checks Cool to the ground. Hooligan just ripping right past the Walgland defense, taking no prisoners. Now she's still behind in the jam. Ella Story already has 10 on the board on her third scoring pass. So Hooligan so far only trying to match, but that was a cruise up the inside lane. So now Hooligan has caught up both jammers on their third scoring pass, but this time Cool Gaz gets her revenge, catches her with Hooligan with a solid hip check, knocks her to the ground, but Hooligan will get 2. Ella Story, however, wins the jam with 4 in the last scoring pass. Puts Walgland at 73, Frotland at 41s, just under 8 minutes left in the first half.
Yeah, it was a really good offensive play here at the very end, defensive work. Milky taking out Ella Story just to try and hold her back, but Ella Story picking up those 4 points, so really good play. Ella Story powering her way through to get those final points. Looking back onto the track right now, we've got Nina backdraft again for Frotland, just being held up at the back, and lead jammer has been awarded to Raw Heidi up at the front. She was still in behind a couple of players, but was lead, so she's powered her way through. Nina backdraft again, still just pushing her way through as Walgland now settled down, trying to get some space for Raw Heidi. Nice, easy pass for her. She's jumped around Sally Royer on the inside line. Frotland have been split up. They're not able to do defense. They're not able to do offense at the moment. Walgland are really controlling this jam right now.
Nina backdraft just right then, showing why it's so important to do burpees. A lot of burpees.
Raw Heidi again just sliding her way through. And again, like I said, Walgland just they're splitting Frotland apart so that they can't provide any offense or defense. Just a 2-wall at the front here to try and slow down Raw Heidi. She just pushes her way between the 2 skaters there and carries on playing. And Raw Heidi, more commonly known as a blocker for London and for England. So it's a very unusual time for her to be jamming, but she's doing a wonderful job of it right now, using her teammates.
Star pass by Team Frotland. Nina backdraft passing the start to Rosianne, the pivot. Now the jammer, and slips up the inside lane just ahead of Raw Heidi, but Raw Heidi was on a scoring pass. In fact, she's far ahead of Frotland. And Heidi's going to go ahead and call off the jam. No danger of Frotland scoring any points on that. 19 points for Walgland. That puts them at 92 points. Frotland remains at 41. And now we have less than 6 minutes remaining in the first half.
Yep. Some brilliant teamwork by Walgland throughout the entirety of that jam, even down to just using the communication from the bench at the end to make sure the call-off was exactly when they needed to do it. They're working as a whole unit, very similar to the men's Team England team that we've seen here this weekend. Not just blockers and jammers, but a whole team working together.
Riot jamming for Team Frotland in the black, and Walgland in the green is Terry Sudrin, a.k.a. Suddas.
Suddas.
Hi. Terry Sudrin out through the outside lane, lead jammer for Walgland.
Yep, very powerful again, a good strong skater, just got her shoulders down and just kept pushing through that outside space, made her own space, this time using her juking, wonderful darting jump there, baiting the blockers the wrong way before jumping into that inside line, clear down the middle, and she's on a second scoring pass. Frotland being pushed out of play, and again Terry Sudrin, very powerful, just keeps battling on through, just keeps using those legs to power on through. Riot trying to spin away off of a hit by Betty Swallock. She's being held up, and I think she's now keeping an eye on the back. She might try and start dropping into defensive play as well as keep pushing on that offense. Frotland needs to come in and provide some offensive play. They're managing to do a little bit of work, but Walgland always in twos. I can't see them split up any less than 2 blockers at a time. And Frotland really needs to try and make sure that they're pulling that out. Oh, so
nasty
close.
Nurse with a solid check, but Terry Sutter just wrote it out, just absorbed the impetus on with her left leg, throwing it into the air to counterweight and keeping that right skate just inbounds. That was just a beautiful example of just the type of grace and balance that can be displayed here in roller derby. She does get 3 points on the last scoring pass, 23 points total for the jam. That's the biggest jam we've had so far this game. If I'm not mistaken, that I can remember.
Yeah, Walgland breaking through that century, 115 points, Frotland on 21. We've got just over 3.5 minutes left in this first period. And we're going to see that's Ella Story on the jam line for Walgland, and she is up against Rosayen for Team Frotland. Rosayen, very good. She's taken the star a couple of times as a pivot as well as jamming. Very agile, and indeed lovely work there on the outside line, picking up lead jammer for Frotland. And very unusually, Ella Story has had to remove that star. Had a bit of a tricky time, and indeed is called on a cutting penalty. I've not seen Ella Story have as tricky a time as she has had just now in this jam in getting out. Oh, beautiful. Lovely little slice around the outside line, Rosien. And this is looking to be a very strong jam now for Team Frotland, exactly what they need.
Dodges past Snail, gets caught by Gaz. Gaz with a heavy shoulder slams it into Rosien. She takes a while to pick herself back up, but recovers nicely, avoids the follow-up from Gaz, and gets by Voodoo and Jesus, number 800 of Walgland. Picks up the 5 for a third scoring pass, 15 so far for Frotland.
Oh, yeah, Hooligan throwing in some offense there at the end just to help pick up an additional set of points, and that will definitely be Frotland's highest scoring jam. 19 points. They were held up on 19 points for a while at the very beginning of this game, so that's a really decent jam for them to get and start clawing their points back. They are just broken back over being 50% of Walgland's score, so they're clawing their way back up.
We've got less than 2 minutes left in the first half. We're going to have Shaolin Scarlet taking the jammer star for the first time this game. Nina Backdraft, though, tries to take advantage of Shaolin Scarlet's misfortune as she falls down with Nasty Nurse. But the referee sees the wheels go out, cutting the track on Nina Backdraft. Power jam for Shaolin Scarlet of Walgland.
Walgland doing a very good tactical trick there of pulling the pack back. And making an auto pack at the back, allowing Shaolin to just push through a no pack situation. Pack is at the back again. They're very good, but we've got Milky realizing this and dropping back to create a bridge. Shaolin having a little bit more difficulty here. Shoulder to shoulder, it's like a dance-off that you never want to go into between the two skaters at the front, but Shaolin managing to push out of play and picks up another 5-point pass.
Phoenix Vital, number 20. It says red on her jersey, but that's Phoenix Vital of Glasgow Roller Derby. Going to the penalty box, it drops Frotland down to 3 blockers, but they have their jammer back. Nina Backdraft returning from the penalty box, but still on her initial pass. Shaolin Scarlet coming in on scoring pass number 4, but gets caught by her opposite number. Nina Backdraft drawing her back all the way around turn 3, but Shaolin Scarlet able to sneak back in and continues the scoring pass.
Oh.
Yep.
Nina Backdraft knew she was doing that, and you could see the despair in her face as she tried to keep out of bounds, but a cut pulled by Kid Block there, and Shaolin Scarlet now pushing away through another 5-point Grand Slam. This time Frotland are getting in and now trying to get around, sort themselves out. Walgland up in their faces, and just, you can't see a solid wall there, just managing to set themselves up at the front as Shaolin hits the back of the pack. Kid Block trying to open up that inside line, goes in again for another offensive block, but already 3 points picked up by Shaolin Scarlet at the last jam of that half. And that is half time. We're seeing Walgland, a 23-point jam by Shaolin Scarlet brings them to 138 points. Frotland on 60 points as we take a short break before going back into the second half of this game here at 4Nations. And we're going to see the second half of Walgland versus Frotland up very shortly. And we are just about ready to get back into the second half of the Walgland versus Frotland game here at 4Nations. And Walgland are chanting. They've been cheering and chanting throughout the entirety of the halftime break, really raising the spirits here at the futsal in Birmingham. And we're going to see Raw Heidi wearing Missy Rascal's top starting as the jammer for Team Walgland. Riot is in the penalty box for Team Frotland.
Well, the question is, was that an English cheer or a Welsh cheer?
Seeing as the words were England, England, I think it might be an England cheer, but Team Wales certainly getting behind it as well.
I think that historically there were probably some Welsh chants that had the word England in it.
We'll go with that, just to cover.
They might not have been so friendly. And
ooh, lovely.
Raw Heidi bashing her way up, right up the inside lane, caught at the front of the pack. Nina Backdraft back in the jam from the penalty box where she started. Both jammers on their initial pass.
Yeah, some very steady work here by Frotland. They really started to get their brains in gear, and certainly their defensive work in gear towards the end of that first half. Walgland being steady all the way throughout. And again, as we can see, defensive work here by both teams. Very good, of course, as soon as I say it. Gap opening up, Nina Backdraft managing to force her way through, picking up lead jammer about a quarter of a lap ahead of Raw Heidi. Both jammers now powering their way around on a scoring pass. Nina Backdraft hits the back of that pack and calls it straight away. Did she get any? 1 point for Frotland, a single point. They will be happy with that, I think, at the moment, but they will want more.
That's right, but she knifed her hip right in between a couple of blockers, hoping for 1 or 2 points, and she got it. And that's an accomplishment with Raw Heidi breathing down your back like that. So, small victories. 1-0, that puts Frotland at 61, Walgland at 138. But we just started the second half.
We've got Rosian and Ella Story now sizing each other up, but taking a step away from that jammer line, so getting the feel of each other before they hit the back of the pack. Rosian being knocked to the outside by Terry Sudran, recycling her back, and she's now hitting that back wall. Terry Sudran going in to give some offensive play for her teammate. And of course, Terry Sudran and Ella Story do play on the same league together. They're both Middlesbrough, so they work very well as a duo. And Ella Story broken free. She's now back around on a scoring pass.
This jam, I tell you what, Ella Story is scoring the points, but this jam so far has been all about Terry Sudrin, the pivot for Walgland. She not only blasted an opening wide at the front for Ella Story to complete her initial pass, and then she immediately went into defense and was able to drop back, take out Rose Hien, draw the cut, and now give up the power jam. So that was all, getting the jammer out and forcing the power jam. All Terry Sudrin in this one.
Yeah, and some beautiful recycling work here. Walgland doing their best to see if they can grab a goat. Indeed, Betty managing to knock. Oof, I think that's Nasty Nurse taking a tumble to the floor. No, Joe Mama now being sent off.
It's Terry Sudrin again working the offensive blocking. Yeah, forearm penalty on Terry Sudrin. Sudders heading to the penalty box. Ella Story, though, did complete scoring pass number 4. Rose Hien back on the track. Gives Betty Swalix the slip, but only just completing her initial pass. Ella Story on scoring pass number 5, a potential 25-point jam right now. But Hooligan manages to knock Ella Story out, slows her down. But then backing it up, throws it in reverse. But does get the cut track right at the end. Yeah. And only 4 points, but still 24 points. I think that is now the biggest jam of the game. But 5 of those matched by Rose Hien of Frotland.
Yeah, as soon as you said Terry Sudrin was doing a lot of controlling in that pack, you could see the moment she was sent off, Walgland was split apart. Roseanne had a very easy pass that first time getting through, and certainly the control was starting to slip back towards Frotland's favour. And in favour now, they have this power start with Riot pushing away through. Terry Sudrin back on the track now. Let's see if she can do as effective a job as she did earlier. Mort recycling a Riot all the way back to turn number 4, and she's having to start all over again. 20 seconds already eaten away in this power jam.
Riot almost got past the rear guard. It was Gin and Tonic, Shaolin Scarlet, and Mort, but Terry Sudrin was there to bring in the slack and pull the Frotland jammer back into the pack.
Yeah, we've had no pack called twice, so there were going to be some penalties, and it's Shaolin, Scarlet, and of Walgland, and Red or Phoenix Fatale of Frotland who are taking those penalties. Back in the pack again, very steady work. This pack has been stretched out and out, and finally Ella Story is able to push Milky out of the way, picks up lead jammer. Phoenix Fatale just being hit to the inside by Mort. Mort doing a very good job here, both as a blocker and a jammer for Team Walgland. Beautiful spinning pirouette on the inside line by Ella Story. And Riot's just sizing up and taking her time. Once again, Mort knocking her out, taking her back. Really good work here by the English team. Sorry, the Walgland team. Indeed, it's Mort from Team Wales who's doing a fantastic job of just getting Riot down on the ground and off the track. She's joined by Jin, knocking her off onto... It's the helmet cover that's come off. Riot now working her way back round, and this pack is going backwards. Both jammers having to do half a lap. And it is Ella Story who gets back on the track first. That was about 20 seconds of reverse skating at the end of that jam. And 10 points going to Walgland, which means we are on 172 points for Walgland, 66 for Frotland. And we've got just under 24 minutes left in this game. We've got Kid Block on the line for Walgland, and she's up against Hooligan for Team Frotland. Hooligan getting really low, trying to push her way through, but Walgland staying steady, and Kid Block just powering through at the front. Lots of jumping over legs there and clearing her own gaps. Lead jammer going to Walgland.
Kid block backing it up, caught by Nina backdrop, but she just hangs on and pokes a hole in the defense past Rose Hien. Last line of defense, Kid block gets 5. But Hooligan has completed her initial pass as Kid block moves on her second. Calls off the jam, very close. Oh, gives up 1 point, but does get 3 for her second scoring pass. So that is an 8-1 jam. Walgland advancing to 180. Frotland at 67. Just under 23 minutes left in the game.
Some very good awareness from the teams. Also very good awareness there from the jammer referees who are seeing these calls on the outside line. Often not all goes unseen when the jammers are swarmed around, but the referees are certainly picking up on it. I think they're working well as a team together here at 4Nations. We got Shaolin Scarlett giving a big old hit there to Guns N' Bozies, but she's pushing her way forwards. Guns N' Bozies back on the track now. Jin doing a very good job of slowing her down. Not good enough. Shaolin is pushing at the front and picks up lead jammer for Walgland. Now back on a scoring pass, just pushes her way through. That far wall has got that opening gap, and if that gap isn't closed quickly enough, jammers that break through can get up 3 points easily. And Shaolin just dropped her shoulder and did a second charge to get the full points and the clear pass on her first scoring pass. Big hit out by Voodoo, taking Guns N' Bozies all the way back behind turn number 2. Shaolin Scarlett picks up another grand slam, makes her way back round again to the pack.
Third scoring pass now for Walgland's jammer, Shaolin Scarlett, caught by Sally Boya and Milky. Milky rides her to the ground. Shaolin Scarlett pops back up, though. Oh, Phoenix Fatale can't maneuver into position in time. Another grand slam for Shaolin Scarlett of Walgland.
Looks like a traffic jam here on turn number 3. Guns N' Bozies just trying to push through all manners of people, both her own team and Team Walgland, getting up there trying to cluster up that size. Shaolin Scarlett again back on the track. She was recycled back, but she's pushing her way through. That inside line closes up. Walgland now recycling Guns N' Bozies.
Jill and Tonic leveraging Shaolin Scarlett to the ground, and Milky's going to draw her back out of turn 3. Shaolin Scarlett coming back in. Of course, Shaolin Scarlett on her 4th scoring pass. Star pass. Now Phoenix Fatale taking over as jammer for Frotland. She's completed her initial pass, but won't get around in time. Shaolin Scarlett takes the 4 and goes home with it. 19 points for Walgland.
But a team timeout called by Team Frotland. This will take them down to just a single timeout left, and the clock stopped just over 20 minutes left in this game. Walgland on 199 points and Frotland on 67. Walgland have still got all of their timeouts and indeed an official review should they decide to use it. We haven't seen a massive amount of official reviews being called over this weekend. Certainly haven't seen any in this exhibition game, and I don't think we had any in the Regime exhibition game yesterday. So really nice to see just steady, continuous play in the exhibition games. As we said, the teams both having a really good time here. Walgland certainly cheering and chanting with the crowd, keeping the crowd up. And a lot of people in the audience who I've been speaking to at halftime saying that they're really enjoying these games, getting a break from the full-on power action from the guys' games down to this really almost clinical but still controlled and powerful action from the ladies' game.
A little bit more longer on the finesse in this game, definitely. But I mean, we have seen plenty of power. I mean, when you see Kid block, and no matter what she's doing, it's powerful.
It is.
She doesn't do anything.
She's just standing powerfully.
No,
she's sitting down powerfully.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Terry Sudren taking the start for Team Walgland. She's knocked off, and it's Riot recycling her back. Just giving a bit of space at the front, but Sudren spinning herself around. Oh, takes herself down to the ground, back up. She's now being recycled back in, but an out of play gives her lead jammer as a cheer from the crowd as she does so. racing round. That's some speed there by Nina Backdraft. But Terry Sudren gets the points and calls that jam before Nina hits the back of the pack. That was some real speed coming on from Nina Backdraft, knowing that she needed to get that call off as quickly as possible from Terry Sudren, who has taken a star pass in the first half and was devastating with it. So closing down just a single scoring pass for Walgland. 203 plays 67.
Ella Story back on the line for Walgland, and a new jammer, 101, Jill Antonic, jamming for Frotland. We're going to see what she can do. She's been a very strong blocker through this game. But getting a little leveraged out by Gin Antonic, number 11 of Walgland.
There's a confusing pair there to have to call.
Gin Antonic and Jill Antonic.
Kid Block there just pushing her out, as we were talking about the power of Kid Block earlier. A really good force out there. Ella Stora having a tricky time at the front. No pack called. She's just shoving her hips around. Gets herself nice and low. Lead is called, and Frotland have to give up and go back to start trying to break out Jill Antonic.
Yeah, I think she actually did a yoga move. She found a way to use a yoga offensively in order to get past Sally Broya and Phoenix Fatal on that one.
I never thought of yoga as being an offensive play, an offensive tactic. We've had a star pass. It's not being won, but it has been passed over to Phoenix Fatal, and she picks up a cutting penalty issued. She is the jammer. She's been sent to the penalty box for a cut as the jammer for Frotland. So power jam here for Ella Story. Frotland trying to push her off that inside, come back over to the outside line. Good slow down here, but Ella Story very agile and powerful. Dancing her way around two blockers at the back, and a lovely spin underneath. But just unable to be caught out by Guns N' Bosies. That's a lovely 5-point pass for Ella Story.
That's 15 for Walgland. Fourth scoring pass coming up at Phoenix Fatal, standing up, still with the jammer cap in hand, but she is the jammer, but not going to get a chance to do anything with it. 3 more points before the jam is called off. 18 points for Walgland, all in that jam. Nothing for Frotland. So Walgland 221, Frotland 67. We've got 17 minutes remaining.
It did look like a very wary star almost put on at the end by Phoenix Fatal. I think she was quite happy to take it back off and hand it back at the bench.
Well, she hasn't started as jammer yet. She's only been the pivot and received 2 star passes by my count.
Beautiful work by Mort here for Walgland. She's a tall skater, but she got her shoulders underneath the shoulders of the Frotland blockers. Milky having a bit more difficulty trying to push her way through.
I believe that was a low block on Rose Hien, and Mort recovered nicely, though. Gets around Hooligan and Riot and Joe Mama. She's going to get lead jammer. 5 points.
Yes.
Hooligan is the last line of defense. Puts up a little bit of a fight, but Mort dodge to the outside, completes the pass. Now at 10 points for the jam.
Oh, lovely slice through there by Mort. Very quick juking. Frotland just split apart, unable to work out which way she was going to go. Milky still trying to power her way through. Snail managing to knock her to the outside. Snail also knocked off by Riot, but that's leaving the inside line open for Mort to make her way up through there. And a star pass over to Riot again. Milky and Riot working very well together in this lineup here for Team Frotland. 2 Scottish players who have worked very well together for Team Scotland, also pairing up very frequently here in the Frotland lineup. And that star pass successfully done, but unable to make any impact on that jam. A 23-point jam for Walgland. Again, they're pulling up these high-scoring jams. As we said, we're looking at 23, 24s. Some really high scores coming through, and that is showing on the board. 244 to 67 with just over 15 minutes left.
Nina Backdraft versus Sudas. Terry Sudren, number 86 of Walgland.
It sounds so good when you say it. I'm going to have to just stop saying it and make you say it all the time. Frotland taken down to just 3 blockers, but it is Nina Backdraft who gets that inside line and picks up lead jammer. Terry Sudren. We're going to see her powering through. Look at the power and the speed as she comes around to try and catch up. Oh, lovely, lovely apex jump. Terry Sudren taken down to the ground. No points for Walgland and 4 points there for Frotland. A big cheer from the crowd with the apex jumps as always, but also the crowd here really do love the underdog, even though we've got a high contingency of the English supporters who would be cheering normally for Walgland. Big cheer there for Frotland. Nina Backdraft on that apex jump. We've got Rosien against Kid Block. Kid Block finds that outside line. She's so tall. I think it's just 2 steps to get herself out the front of the pack, but Rosien is catching up on her and trying to take that inside line. Kid Block turns into the blocker position and now tries to push her way through. She's knocked to the outside line. Both of them taken to the outside line. Rosien's first one back on is now attacking the back of the pack as Kid Block tries to work her way around Milky and the other Frotland blockers. Hooligan managing to hold a good brace block there, and Rosien is given a cutting penalty. Raw Heidi, the pivot, very good at pulling that one back. And now she's up there trying to break out Kid Block.
Yeah, well, Raw Heidi, it was like she was on a bungee cord. She snapped back so fast. That was Rosien. I don't know if she was even aware that Raw Heidi had moved, because by the time she turned around, Raw Heidi was already about 5 meters behind her. So it really, she just came right back on and said, there's nobody that was, I'm not cutting anybody. The referee, though, definitely called it right. That was definitely a cutting.
Walgland now splitting up the Frotland team. Riot doing her best not to be goated, but Kid Block just keeps spinning away around the outside, managing to be slowed down ever so gently, almost for about a millisecond, before Kid Block is just pushing away through. An outplay called. Kid Block throws her hands up as a shrug. Come on, guys, you're out of play. And another Grand Slam pass. But Rosien is also now scoring, pulling up 4 points for Frotland, and again racing around. Oh, Kid Block clearing the inside line.
Guns and Bosies was braced. She was as ready for that as anyone could be. But Kid Block just demolished her like she was a sledgehammer. Or
she came in like a wrecking ball, I think we could say.
Ball. Yes. Came in like a wrecking ball.
She did indeed. However, right, she cleared the inside line for Rosien, and it was Rosien.
Never mind the visual imagery. We're not going to play the music video for you.
No. So that was 8 points to 15 in that previous jam, and we're going to see Ella Story back up against Nina Backdraft. These two have been on together quite a few times. Very similar styles jamming, both very agile, both quite powerful, both very good at getting lead, and lead this time has gone to Frotland. Nina Backdraft, however, knocked to the outside line, so she's going to have to get her way through again. Ella Story still pushing her way through, trying to throw those hips around on the outside of turn number 1. She does do so. She's broken free. She's not lead jammer, but she is in the lead. And Nina Backdraft now trying to push her way through that pack, sorting itself out on turn number 2. Frotland taking the front, but Walgland coming up to split them apart. A lovely sweep across. Oh, sweeps to both sides here of both Walgland and Frotland having being recycled, and again we've got the reverse pack. Frotland on the inside, however, got the easier run of it. Oh, beautiful balancing work there by Nina Backdraft, and Ella Story recycled all the way back round to turn number 1, and Nina Backdraft calling that jam, I believe. 3 points picked up by Walgland, 4 by Frotland, so they do win, but only by a solitary point.
But a win is a win. I mean, this is any good news at this point is good news for Frotland. They've been struggling a little bit in the second half. Only scored about less than 20 points in the second half, as I recall. We do have an official timeout. Score frozen at 10:26 right now, but maybe adjusted. Up 1 second, 10:27 on the clock.
Very critical adjustments of time here. We do have the game coming up following this one will be the Power of Scotland taking on Équipe de France de roller derby masculine. So if you're watching in chronological order, keep an eye out for that game following up next. We've got Mort, oh beautiful, powering her way through, again the middle of the track, the safest place for a jammer but the hardest place to get through, and she is finding that space cleared, and she's now also on a power jam. Really good work between her wheels to her toe stop. She's switching between the two, and a lovely spin round. Calls that jam. I don't think she was aware that it was a power jam yet. Indeed says sorry to her bench. As we see a brand new jammer for Walgland with a huge cheer from the Newcastle contingency, who are always known for being rather loud and boisterous when it comes to teammates. This is Jin and Sonic for Walgland, who will start on a power jam for Walgland. Frotland not just with the jammer in the box, but they're down to just 3 blockers on the track as well, as Jin and Sonic now makes her way in towards that pack. Walgland slowing down, dropping back. Jin and Sonic knocked off, but she's back on, trying to force her way around, picks up lead jammer right in front of her teammates who are cheering on in the crowd. And a big cheer for Walgland. Kiblock sent off for a penalty, so we're down to just 3 blockers for Walgland. Frotland now back up to 4, and indeed they do have their Rose Hayen back on the track, but knocked off. Big hit by Terry Sudren. Rose Hayen keeping on her feet for about another 10 foot, but not able to keep her balance, and as falling down to the floor, she takes herself off the track as well. So recycled all the way back. Jin and Sonic, a 5-point grand slam. Roseanne still on her initial scoring pass. Just clipped again, Terry Sudren, but that out of play block allows Roseanne back on the track to complete her initial pass. Jin and Sonic now just trying to battle her way through on a second scoring pass. Spun round, taken out, has a quick look behind her. Roseanne just powering her way through. Lovely slice through. Kid Block just slowing her down at the front. A good stretch out.
And that was, she just, did you see that? She just had contact, had her shoulder in the sternum of Roseanne, and then just hurled her, just with a turn of the shoulders, and Roseanne went out of bounds, just with that one flick of her upper body. Kid Block is just putting on a tour de force of how you can apply force in roller derby. And there it is again. This time just a little deflection, but enough to send Roseanne down to the ground. He is going to pick up 3 points for Frotland, though. 3 on the last scoring pass, rather. 7 points total, but Walgland with 9 points on the jam. So Walgland now at 276, Frotland at 90. We've got 7 minutes left.
Kitty Decapitate just going in for a quick question to the head referee there, Metal Ed. So it is going into an official review. Official review being called by Team Walgland. There I was saying we had some wonderful continuous play, and they bring in an official review.
Oh, but in your defense, you said that a long time ago. So it's not.
It's not the jinx of the announcers.
Right. The jinx is very immediate. It happens. It happens instant. It's nearly instantaneously.
Yeah, maybe it's just taking a while for them to hear what's going on over here.
Yeah, usually it happens between when the thought forms in your head to say the sentence and when you start saying the sentence. In between those two instances is when the jinx takes effect. So this is not your fault.
It's not my fault.
It's not your fault.
It's not my fault. Not my fault. And it doesn't affect anybody. So if you are considering announcing for your local roller derby team, please do still consider that and go along, find out more about them. Jump on the AFTDA page, have a look at what the announcers are doing in your local area, and take over from me so I don't get jinxed anymore. We will have the results of the official review come back to us. We'll feed those back to you. We do have referee Duncan Disorderly who will be able to feed that back to us here and let you guys know what's going on.
But it is team Walgland, Wales and England taking the official review. And of course, Frotland is, as you may have guessed, if you didn't know already, France and Scotland.
Quite interestingly, it was just the bench manager, and that's Kitty Decapitate for Walgland, who went in, not the captain, who is, I believe, is it Kid Block who's captain for Walgland this game?
I think I caught that. That was a Green Walgland requesting a review of the non-call of a cut track on Rose Hien during that jam. However, on review and consultation with the refs, it was determined that the Walgland skater that they believed she had cut had actually stepped out of bounds and therefore nullified the potential cut track call. So the no call stood, and Walgland loses their official review.
Back to the game in action, we've got Rawhide, who has picked up lead jammer just ahead of Hooligan. Probably a fifth of the track ahead as she hits the back of the pack. Walgland now going in for that offensive break. Oh, Rawhide calling it, but that will be points for Hooligan, who managed to sneak through. 2.3 points for Hooligan and Frotland. And Walgland not picking up a single point there. Rawhide just with the delayed call-off. So that gives the benefit there to Frotland. Frotland now on 93 points, Walgland on 276, and we've got under 6.5 minutes left in this game.
And some potential additional trouble. Rose Hien and Phoenix Fatale both on 6 penalties, I was just informed. If they get their 7th penalty, they will, of course, foul out.
That's how the game works.
However, only 6 minutes left, so this is also the time when most teams start pulling out all the stops.
Ella Story just twisting away around at the front, picking up lead jammer. Joe Malma was trying to replicate those moves at the back, but sadly unable to get the benefit of the gaps opening up. Ella Story again pushing her way through. Joe Malma now coming up to a solid block there by Optimus, slowing her down. Joe Malma trying to go for the outside line this time, and inside line opened up for Ella Story, who's blocked to the outside line with a lovely thigh block, but she's made her way back onto the track, and Frotland taken down to just 2 blockers.
Sally Broyer and Guns N' Bozies slowing down Ella Story, but she eventually gets through. 5 points. Cut track on Joe Mama, number 407 of Frotland. That means it's a power jam for Ella Story. Not that she needed it.
Not that she needed it indeed. And again, Walgland just splitting that Frotland defense apart. And again, this is, look, Walgland going straight in to split it up. So it's just a single blocker. Ella Story having to dodge around. Mort taking that penalty. 2 on 2 in the pack, but it is going to be in favour still with a power jam for Walgland. Frotland are now joined by Jill and Tomic. Ella Story up at the front.
Nina Backdraft is jumping forward to bridge, extending the engagement zone for Sally Broya and Guns N' Bozies. They do a good job holding back Ella Story. They held her back for a good 15 seconds or so, but she eventually got through, got the 5, and now that is a 25-point jam for Walgland.
Is that going to be the lead, the top scoring so far?
I believe so, yes.
In fact, I think three high-scoring jams by Ella Story. She's had a 23, a 24, and a 25 at least. So she might be pulling the top jam points for Team Walgland.
I just noticed we have both Phoenix Fatale and the Rose Hien skating as blockers in this jam. So, and both of those skaters on the bubble, in the hot seat. 1 penalty, and they will not return to the track. Kid Block jamming, gets caught by Rose Hien at the front, comes back up, rams around Milky, but caught by Nasty Nurse. Lead jammer goes and, oh dear, a out of play penalty on Rosienne. So she may not return. I'm seeing some signaling back from the penalty box. I believe that will be her 7th penalty.
It is indeed, and that will take Frotland down to just a 10-person roster, as they only started with 11 at the beginning of this game.
Milky and Cool Gaz Cool, going to the penalty box, respectively. That leaves only, okay, Rosienne released from the penalty box, back to her bench. She will not be returning to the game. And Riot, that leaves only Phoenix Fatale. That is, Phoenix Fatale and Nasty Nurse. That was, Riot was the jammer, so this is a power jam. I was going to say, interesting position if Phoenix Fatale is the only blocker left on the track.
Yep.
But that's not the case, not the case.
And Frotland can breathe a small sigh of relief. However, it is Kid Block jamming against them. She's already had 2 scoring passes, and she's back round for a 3rd. Sudren going in to provide some potential offensive work, but it's not needed, as Kid Block, as graceful as an ice skater, just spins away around the outside and picks up another grand slam. Milky now returning back to the track, so hopefully we won't have that terrible potential situation of Frotland.
That's right. I mean, I said earlier, nothing dainty about Kid Block, but that does not rule out graceful. She is absolutely demonstrating how graceful she can be. It sets grace and power in one person. I'm a big admirer of Kid Block.
Oh, we've got Riot has been sent to the penalty box at the very end of that jam for a back block. Riot, the jammer for Team Frotland. Kid Block just having a quick discussion about something with her jammer referee, but this is putting Raw Heidi of Walgland on a power start up against Frotland. 320 playing 93, and we've got just over a minute 15 seconds left on the period clock. Raw Heidi pushing her way through, having to pause against Hooligan, trying to take her out at the very end, but a lovely little jump on that inside line, and Raw Heidi is lead for Walgland.
Yeah, I saw a Kid Block. She was discussing something with the Walgland jammer rep, but in between jams there, but nothing came of it. Clearly, they were just having probably just a clarification between one or the other. However, Raw Heidi now, the jammer for Walgland, gets around Hooligan. No pass, no penalty, but she's still no pass, no penalty allows her out. That's why she only gets 4 on that scoring pass.
We've had a star pass to Hooligan. Frotland were briefly taken down to just 3 blockers on the track. Sally Boyer just giving herself a little bit of time on the inside line after a huge hit from Raw Heidi. But they're back up to 4. Hooligan still with the star in her hand. Knocks off a lovely little hit out there by Snail Blazer of Team Wales and Team Walgland today. Raw Heidi still trying to push her way up at the front, but the pack's just moving around with both jammers. Neither jammer getting any leeway. Oh, that is a cutting penalty for Hooligan, and Raw Heidi picked up another 4-point pass in the meantime. So she's back round. The period clock has disappeared completely. Just over 30 seconds left on the jammer clock. Frotland on 93, Walgland 328 points as Raw Heidi now pushes her way up at the front. Frotland trying to bridge their way through. Lovely signal there from the Frotland bridger saying, it's me, I'm still keeping them in play. Little jazz fingers rather than a jazz hand. Lovely offence thrown in by Shaolin Scarlet, just breaking Frotland up, stretching them out. Pack just being created by Guns and Bosies. Oh, Hooligan back in on track, but slides down to the ground, and that jam comes to its natural conclusion. 18 points on the board by Raw Heidi in that very final jam. And our unofficial scores currently: Frotland on 93, Walgland on 338 points.
So well played by both teams, but Walgland definitely had the edge in that game. And that is the final score. Walgland 338, Frotland 93. So Wales and England team up, wins the game. France. Scotland, disappointing, but you know what? They played a heck of a game.
They did indeed, and as I said earlier, they came in with just 11 players at the start, taken down to 10. Walgland with the full 14, so they had a little bit more of the ability to rest players and bring players on, but the strength, as we said earlier, of those Team England players, especially those who have popped in over from London Roller Girls, and the two players from Middlesbrough, absolutely shining through. Morse, I think, for Team Wales, playing for Team Walgland, was a real good star, true double threat there alongside Kid Block. Over in Frotland, we had some really good work by Milky, doing some good recycling work as a blocker and powering through as a jammer. Rose Hayen, until she was fouled out for those 7 penalties, clocking up the points for Frotland. So some really good standout players, really good play from both sides. I wouldn't like to have to go up against either of those two teams, but the score's in Walgland's favour as they take to the track. High fives all around. So a lovely game here to watch, seeing as much of the action and talent coming through from the ladies teams of the 4 Nations. We will be getting back to the action of the men's teams from the 4 Nations. As I said, we have got Power of Scotland coming up against Équipe de France de roller derby masculine. So Team Scotland versus Team France will be the next one if you're watching chronologically. If you're not watching chronologically, you may have already seen it and know the outcome, in which case, bully for you. But we will be watching here Power of Scotland versus Équipe de France de roller derby masculine. So stay tuned. I've been Holly.
Bulldog.